Oh, welcome back to the layout. I want to try and get all the tunnel completed, all the rest of the scenery sort of in place, starting to do the landscaping. Obviously I've just started really. I've put some blocks in there to support the tunnel itself. It won't look like that when it's finished. It will have expanding foam, but I do want to get the platform bridge will go here, because I'm going to be putting the station building just here. So I'll just show you that. And I've actually decided to just buy a pre-made building really, which is the one of the Hornby Station Master office in Engage. And I know these are quite good quality. It's just a bit of speed really. I was going to just build my own, but I needed something fairly quick so I could get the sort of the right sort of position. So I'm not sure which way. I think that was probably the best way. So we want the sort of the building roughly here, be some barriers coming along there, and you'd walk down into the station itself. I think that would work. Obviously there's going to be more scenic material going down there, and I do want to do the road coming down the hill all the way down and then to the goods yard, and I want to put a bit of a farm on the top here. So there is a bit more work. It's going to be a bit of a lonely station really, because there's not much else going off apart from the station and the farm at the moment. So I'm going to have to think about what everything else I can do. Obviously I'm going to put the tunnel mouth here, you know, one of the painted ones, and then just on the other side just want to get the other tunnel mouth in sort of round here, and so I've got a little bit of scenery in there, and I think it should look okay. I'm hoping anyway. So I need to just fix this down. I'm not going to have this as a removable piece. If I do get a derailment in the tunnel, I'm going to be taking a piece out of the board here, or even just take this board off, you know, because I want it to be quite dark inside the tunnel. I did think about doing this as a removable piece, but I'm not going to. But I'm just going to mark roughly where the station will be, so I don't put loads of expanding foam around there, and roughly where the road I want to go up. So I've just done a quick rough feel how I want it to be. Obviously this road's going to come down and down, and I think obviously we're going to have some scenic material behind here. Need a lot of trees as well. I think that should just make just enough space. On the front here I'm going to be putting some slate, so Welsh slate. I've got some sheets just to go on there. So I'm hoping that it will sort of turn out how I'm thinking about it now. So I'm going to clear everything, get this glued down, and then I'm going to start on the expanding foam. Right, as you can see, I've put how the road will slope down. It's not perfect, so I'm going to use, when I finish it all off, there will be some filler to go in there as well. Hoping it looks better than it does now. So, but one thing I do need before I put in the expanding foam is I just need to protect all the backboards. So I need to just make sure that I've got sort of paper so it doesn't, expanding foam doesn't stick to any of the backboards. And I need to make sure I protect all the tracks. So I'm also going to fill this with card, I think, because it'll be stronger than the paper. But I'm going to sort of make sure that the track is definitely protected, because if you get any expanding foam on the track, it's sort of game over for that piece of track. You'll never clean it off, so you will have to sort of change. So I'm going to carry on getting all this masked off, and we'll come back and I'll start to get the expanding foam on. So I should have everything masked off that I don't want any expanding foam to go on. So I'm just going to make sure this is shaking up and then start. This is the scary bit. How do I get this one to work? I'm not too worried if there's too much on, because I'm going to cut that off, but I don't want it to get on any of the stuff. And when you've sort of put this on, you're never really sure if you've got enough on, because the next day you come down, it's about 10 times the size. So I'm gonna roughly leave it about here, and then I can get this carved up later. I'll leave that to expand, and hopefully this turns out okay. You know, any bits that I've missed, I'm going to fill with the bits that I carve out. So I'm just praying I don't get anything on the tracks or anywhere. So, okay, I'll leave this to dry, and we'll come back once it's all set. Okay, wow, I wasn't expecting it to grow that much, but all seems to have set solid. So I'm going to start clearing all this off now, and then carving it into the right shape and just seeing what we've got. And once I've got that, I can then put the plaster cloth over it. That expanding foam seems to have really worked on that new one that I'm using. As you can see, we have survived, and if I hadn't put the paper and card over the track, we would have definitely ruined this piece of track. Had to cut it out and reworked all that. So quite glad that I masked everything up. Expanded a lot more than I was expecting, so I've obviously got a lot more now to tidy up. And it's basically just, now I need to just carve it into the shapes that I want. So on here I wanted it just not quite as close to the track as that, so I just need to be a bit careful as I'm cutting that. And I'm just going to need to shape this a bit more. And probably don't need it it's way higher than I actually expect, but As you can see, there's still the card actually on there, so it did its job. And the tunnel is definitely somewhere in there, so it's going to take a little bit of time to do all this, and I'm just going to make sure that I just do it nice and gently, and don't go over the top. And if I remove too much, I can always add a bit more in anyway. So the idea. So what I would have liked is just something underneath there. I don't know if that's actually coming out that well. I think just a small piece in the bottom there I'll add, and that should actually look okay. You know, this is meant to be a bit more of a rock face, so I'm going to have to work out how to create that rock face with the weathering powders and pastel colours. Not exactly sure yet, so I'll show you how I do it, whether it comes out good or not. But I'm going to really start to get this into more of the shape that I want. Right, I can confirm this isn't 100% set inside, so I'm going to need to leave that for a trim anymore. Maybe the conservatory was just too cold. I brought it into the dining room, so but I'm going to leave that a little bit, that section there. So just going to carry on trying to, hopefully this is a little bit better. I think that was just really a lot thicker. There's an awful lot to trim away this time. can't do much there. And we're a little bit wet there as well, so I better leave this just to oh, sorry. Leave this to just set a little bit better in the warmth, and then I can sort of shape this into a better position. So that needs to come back quite a lot further, but this is just so wet inside at the moment, it really needs some of the air to get to it, and then I can continue. So I think it'll be tomorrow before I can really work on that. Right, I think I've got this roughly how I want it. I've actually got some piece of bark as well for use of the I'm going to use this and then try and get that to look like stone, hopefully. I'll pop these to one side. Now I've got another piece that will go on the inside there. I've popped the platforms just on for the moment just to see, but I did knock part of my bridge, so I've got that to repair. I was sort of leaning away and I knocked it and broke the plastic glue that I put on early in a previous episode. So I just got to glue that back together. It's not an issue. But what I think, I just need to give this a little bit of a sand down, I think, just to get it a little bit smoother before I put on the plaster cloth. I want to get it to roughly the correct shape. Obviously I need to put a little bit more around where this tunnel mouth's going to be, so I'm going to use a little bit of some of the offcuts, place that around there before I put the plaster bandage on. But the road I want to go like that, so, and then I want to put the farmhouse up here, or do I put the farmhouse here and then the road goes there? Might actually be better there with a little bit more space, so I just need to sort of work that out a little bit before I get too carried away with all the plaster bandage. I need to just make sure where I am going to put this road. So let me have a think about that, and we'll come back and I'll start getting this the plaster cloth on this. Right, I'm just going to cut all the plaster bandage into manageable pieces. So I'm going to need quite a bit, probably 2 or 3 rolls minimum. Give this a good coat. So give me a few more minutes to get all these cut. I've only got 3 rolls left after this one, so it's like I'll be down the model shop getting some more for the next project. Should have enough for this project though. So it's once you've got enough cut, you know, but best to cut really more than you need, because you can always just make a couple of layers. And what I would say, what I do need to do is, before I start putting all this on, I'm going to just protect the track, I think. So I need to just put some paper over the tracks, stop any PVA glue and plaster sort of landing on the tracks. So the thing I'm going to use kitchen roll. I'm going to use some bits of thicker card, I think. What have I got there? Some that I was using earlier to now I'm going to cover all of that, so I'm going to definitely need some more. So I'm going to go and get some paper and cover that. So I've got the paper covering everything where I'm going to be getting water about. me just move this tube. And I've just got a mix here, water and a bit of PVA. I always like to do that when I'm doing the plaster cloth. You don't need to, water is fine. But I'm just going to start at the top here, I think. And just gradually cover it. One good thing about using the expanding foam in this cloth is you don't get a lot of water on your baseboard. I remember one of the boards I did in the past, I used like kitchen roll and paper mache and all sorts like that, and there was that much water on the board it actually warped the board underneath. I didn't think it would or anything like that, but I've learned my lessons on that. Don't use paper mache. You can use all sorts of materials, just any polystyrene, and cover it with this. I tend to find it's a lot easier just to just use this expanding foam. So I don't know if anybody else actually uses that. I've not seen anybody else using it, but I just find I can then put this on and then make the shape I want. So anyway, I'm waffling away. I'm just going to carry on covering all this in the plaster bandage, and we'll come back and have a look. As you can see, I've got all it plaster cloth. I've just put tunnel mouth in at the moment. So roughly put the road in. I needed to just check some of the buildings, make sure that they'd fit. I've got to build a good stepo there yet, and I've still got the building for the boatyard, you know, so I need to do a little building at the bottom there. So I'm going to try and get this painted next. I was also just test fitting the platform bridge there. I've got to obviously extend the supports to that, and I've just temporarily put in the tunnel mouth. I've reduced the size of these very slightly because I just found they was just a bit too tall, but I've also made sure that the coaches all go through, so that's all fine. I've left this space there, obviously that's going to be the station building, and then I'm not sure on how much space I'm going to have, but I want to do a couple of parking spaces, and then the passengers will walk down there. I also want to try and do a few stone effects. My plan on the side of here, so you can see just on here, this is going to be Welsh slate, and I've got these pieces there. I've done the same sort of effect, and that's just going to slot in there, so that will be along all there and should look like a nice Welsh slate sort of wall. So I'm going to also try and get a few stone pieces in. I need to check the backdrop and see if I can sort of get it to look a bit like the backdrop. So I don't know how it's all going to pan out and work out, but I'm hoping that I can use some of this bark, and sort of, I wasn't going to use it here, but I want to try and to make a few areas where it looks like the stone rock. I mean, that would actually look quite good there anyway, actually, but it's not actually for there. I've got it. It's on the entrance and exit of the tunnel mouth. I want to have some bit like a stone wall there with all the grass on top. So I've got to work out how to do that. I've not used bark or anything like that, so I'm going to need to paint it, then use some washes on it and things like that. So I think that's a good experiment. I think I'm going to use like either a brown or a green paint. I've not totally 100% decided yet, but just on all of these. Probably just use the green and then use some greys and things like that to try and simulate stones. So that's going to be my next job, get it painted. Now I wanted to try a little bit of grey paint just in a few areas where I think the rock formation is going to be, and then try and blend this in with the grass around it. So just a sort of small patches where rock possibly will be showing through where the grass is. I don't know if this is going to work or not, but let's give it a go. And then I'll blend those in with a few weathering powders and things like that, I think. Actually, while I've got the grey paint, I'm going to give the road a sort of a coat anyway. I've got more plans for this road, but I'm just going to give it a top coat of grey just to protect the card a little bit. But I'm not too worried if the card does get wet, because I'm going to be working on a new texture I've not actually tried before. So this layout has a few things that I've never used before or tried, so I think it is good to experiment. So let me finish painting this, and then I'm going to finish painting the rest in green, and we'll come back. Well, that's all the green paint on, and the grey road's done. That took some time painting. Now all I've got to do is let this all dry, get some of the grass textures on, and hope it will start looking a little bit better, because at the moment I never like it when it's just painted green, because it does look a mess. So, but it will start to look better. So what I thought I would have a look at doing is getting this bark on. So I want this to be the stone texture on the back wall there. And I don't want it to just be white, so I'm going to use some of the green paint. So I'm just using some polyfiller. Don't know if this is going to work. I'm getting green all in it, and I'm going to just mix it with the green paint. So see if this works. Now let me just pop this to one side. A bit more green paint. Might need a bit of water as well. Yeah, it's mixing up all right, actually. Don't need any water in that. It's actually quite runny as it is. So I'm not sure whether to apply it to the wall. Well, not the wall, but the rock face that I'm doing it to. So. Or do I just apply it straight to the back of this? Let's have a go at both. So what I want it to do is squeeze out and go in between. This is where I will go. I need a kitchen roll, because it's all going to go all over the place. Right, I'm going to then apply it to the wall rock face. Now, it's a good job I did pause there a little bit, because the battery was indicator was flashing on the camera. So I'm going to hopefully this will work. If not, I just take it out and do something else. This is going to take a little bit of drying because it's quite thick and wet. Right, let's see if we can get this on without it looking rubbish. Don't worry, I can put grass texture around all this and fill in anything. Right, I need to move this back actually. I've forgotten the tunnel mouth. Needs to sit in there. I'm going to trim that off, I think, a little bit more. Just want to fill that gap. Like I say, as if I don't like it, I can just try changing it. So I'm hoping somebody will say, hey, you've done that wrong, you want to do it like this, and then I'll go, okay, I'm going to try doing it like that. Especially on the another piece. This is just my first piece that I want to try. Right, I'm going to leave that to fully dry now. Don't think there's much more I can do yet, so it's just now waiting for paint to dry, and we'll come back. Now all this is sort of dried and it's stuck on nice. I'm going to trim those off a little bit, but I'm just going to try and give them a little bit of a grey wash. I've just made a little bit of grey paint and water up really. I just want to try and, I think that's just a bit too strong, so I'm going to put a bit more water in that. Right, I've got a bit more water now, so I just want to, I don't know if this is going to work. To be honest, it looks a little bit too grey. Let's might work once I've got some of all the weathering powders on as well after it. Well, I think once I've got all the grass texture around it, I think it possibly will start to look a bit better. I'm going to go around all the rest of the bark that I've added in. Well, it's time to start getting the artificial grass on here. So I've got my PVA glue. I've got some left of the previous one I was using, and I've got a full 100 ml one of autumn static grass. So I'm hoping it all works out and doesn't look too bad. So right, I'm just going to focus in on a couple of areas first. Might take the whole lid off, get a lot more out. I believe in getting plenty on. It doesn't really matter if you get too much. It'll all dry. So, and get my brush, to get all the PVA exactly where I want it. I want to avoid some of these rocks. Well, not some of them, all of them. Doesn't matter if I get a bit around them or anything like that, because it'll all work. I'm not going to do massive areas because the glue will probably have dried by the time I get round to it. So. Right, I think that's the enough glue on those bits. And I'm just going to use my tea strainer. Just fill it up. I'm just going to go over the whole lot. Several passes. Doesn't matter if you get excess everywhere else because there's no glue there, it'll just brush off or vacuum up. And oops, well, it doesn't really matter too much. And you will probably see the glue still because it will keep coming through, but I just keep layering more on and eventually you run out of static grass. I did think about actually adding some ash and dust into this as well, just to give it a little bit of so sure how that'll work. So I'm just going to do an experiment on this, just to, and then we'll get some more grass layers over this anyway. But I was just interested to see if that would work. Yeah, it's okay. Let me zoom in for you. I think when get a couple more layers on there, and once the glue dries, that'll look okay. Right then, I've got all the layout covered. There will still be some areas that's not quite, that I'm going to need to tip the board over to get the grass textures in, but that's all the first layer done. I'm going to then just leave this to dry a little bit, then vacuum all the excess up, and then put some spray a little bit of water over the bits where I want it to stick. But I don't think I can do much more at the moment, so this is going to take several hours to dry. So I'm going to conclude this episode, and I'll say come back and you can see the finished results. Okay, thank you for watching. I wish you a very good evening or a very good rest of the day, and take care, and I'll see you again.